Tell us about the movie. Why'd you make it? Who's it for? What's it about?
I mean, this is barefaced promo. So I made a movie called Fackham Hall, which sounds rude.
Is that the first joke?
No, it's the... Okay, so it's called Fackham Hall. I hear it now. It's too late to change the posters.
Yep.
I should really have said it out loud before we made the whole film. Never mind. Anyway, what we did was movie maths. We went, look, Downton Abbey is really good, right? Period drama, no one does it like us, right? The British are the best. And we do comedy very well, I think. I'd like to say. I've got a dog in that race.
Yeah.
So we mashed those two things together, and it's Airplane meets Downton Abbey is the pitch for the movie. So it's 300 jokes in 90 minutes.
Wow.
I've got a bit of a pet peeve about comedy movies. You know, sometimes you go and see the trailer for a comedy movie, and they put all of the good jokes in the trailer. And it kills me. Yeah. And you go, that's... So we put 30 jokes in the trailer to give people a taste of it, but there's 297 jokes in the movie. So I don't want to ever be a grifter. You know that thing? A grifter, I think, is someone selling something that they wouldn't buy.
And I go, would buy this?
I would buy this movie. I would take the missus to see this. We spend our lives going, what are we going to watch?
Yes.
And arguing. And we love a funny movie. And we love something... So we need a little bit, a sprinkle of Richard Curtis. Richard Curtis is, what? You need a bit of romance.
Yeah.
A little bit of romance, just keep everyone interested.
I spend my life arguing with my wife about what to watch on the TV, what we're going to stream. There aren't many comedy movies made for grown-ups anymore.
No, I mean, they basically stopped making them. Comedy is bigger and smaller than ever. Comedy, if you think about the TV shows that people watch now, people are like, kids watch Friends and they watch The Office and late night, but from the 90s, because nothing's being made now.
No.
The big studio movies like, I don't know, Anchorman or...
Still so good.
Team America World Police.
Yeah.
That's 15 years ago now those movies were made. And people are still watching them on repeat because they're not making new movies. It is very difficult to get something like this across the line. But then comedy is... I mean, the late night shows in America are being shut down. Mm-hmm. They're not making those shows anymore. And it's very sad in a way, but people don't want that job. They want to be independent.
Well, as are comedians, some of them being shut down for a number of different reasons.
I don't think comics are getting shut down. I think, like... that you get dragged. I don't like the word cancelled. I like that you get dragged once in a while, and you have to right-size that.
Well, can I talk to you about a drag?
Of course, yeah, man.
Because I obviously was knowing that you come on. I was preparing in the only way possible, which was ChatGPT.
Of course.
And so I said to ChatGPT, could you give me Jimmy Carr's rudest joke? I want the sort of the perfect example of the rudest possible joke that Jimmy... And do you know what it said? ChatGPT would only reference your jokes that ChatGPT, deemed safe to share. It wouldn't give me the joke about if only Africa had more mosquito nets, then every year we could save millions of mosquitoes from dying necessarily of AIDS.
Don't kill the joke on the radio. You're not a professional. But it's a weird thing where I don't know. I sort of think offence is about context. And if you're at a comedy show, it's a very fun, safe space, to use that term, to tell jokes and to say the unsayable. And I'm given special permission by the audience to say these things. And we laugh at the wrong thing because we know precisely what the right thing is. And there's something about if someone comes to see my show and they say they're offended, it's ridiculous in a sense. It's like someone saying, I want to see a horror movie. I was really scared.
Yeah.
I want to see AC/DC live.
It's so loud.
So loud. Could they not turn it down? I've got a complaint.
But if you were starting out now, would you be able to build a career with jokes like that?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's an illusion. Maybe I'm grandfathered in a little bit, but I think more of that, it's like I've been through it a couple of times.
Yes.
And I know the first time you get cancelled, it's very scary. But cancellation is a filter. You filter your audience, and the people that don't like you fall away, and you filter your friends. You know, sadly, if you go through something like that, you're on the front of the papers, people fall away. I think jokes are like magnets. They attract and they repel. Some people are very attracted to my sense of humour and they like it, and it's like a friendship because who do you laugh with? Your friends and family. And I've got no filter with my audience. Think about who your best friend in the world is. I'll tell you who your best friend is. Your best friend is a guy you have no filter with. You're totally open with, right? And if you as a performer treat the audience like that, you will be rewarded.
But
people will feel that.
Even in the people that may be repelled, do you think there's some degree of forgiveness required? For example, the Oxford Union president-elect who celebrated Charlie Kirk's murder and was removed from position, or even the suggestion, people of Rory Stewart suggesting that Nigel Farage might be forgiven for allegedly making racist comments when he was at school. That element of forgiving of the things that people say, sort of apropos of nothing, or where they think it's not going to be shared, or amongst the community they feel they are drawn to?
Well, there's two things going on there. I think there's certain things that the secular society doesn't do very well, and religion does very well. And forgiveness is one of them. And the idea of going, we don't really have shunning in the traditional sense. So cancellation is kind of for always and forever. You said that thing and it lasts forever. We cannot forgive what we cannot punish. And there's also a thing of like mustn't. It's like we've got like debate. We've got like you can say that and you can't say that. It's mustn't. You probably shouldn't say that.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't say that in polite society, but you can say that at a comedy show to make people laugh, to get a reaction. The juice has to be worth the squeeze. You can't just say unpleasant things.
No. So that you could forgive them, but only if sufficient time has passed or they have been punished sufficiently for saying the thing they shouldn't really have said.
Yeah, but you don't need to apologise for a joke, because a joke, the funniest joke your favourite thing you can't wait to share with your wife and your friends and your family, oh my God, so funny, and the joke that you think, oh, that's a bit much actually, I don't think that guy should be on television, I think that should be, ban that filth. Both of those jokes come from exactly the same place.
Yeah.
And I am like Evel Knievel. Comedians are like Evel Knievel. Evel Knievel was never paid for the jump. He was paid for the attempt. I'm paid for the attempt. And sometimes swing and a miss. And actually, the joke that ends my career, it's already out there.
Yes,
I probably told it 15 years ago.
It's the African
and it's
one, isn't it?
lying in wait on a DVD somewhere, and someone will be offended by it in the future, and there'll be a big newspaper story. And you have to be able to wear that as well and right-size it, to use the therapy term, and go, look, I told the joke and some people didn't like it. There's real problems in the world. Don't worry about it.
The stuff I see of you more often than not now is you talking about, actually quite a lot about the plight of young men, of masculinity. You introduced me to a guy called Warren Farrell, for example, in listening to some of the things you talked about.
Warren Farrell was the guy that wrote the original. I mean, he was a big player in the feminist movement in the late 60s. I mean, a very important mind in the feminist movement. And then he wrote a book called The Myth of Male Power, which I think has been misinterpreted by lots of people. But it's interesting. All the dangerous jobs are done by men. I'd really recommend, if I was going to name check anyone, Scott Galloway has got a new book out. A phenomenal writer. Just a brilliant man, I think.
Let me ask you the question I asked him. Do you think toxic masculinity exists?
Yeah, I do. And I think there's
Because he doesn't.
Okay, well, here's what I think on masculinity. And by the way, I do not have a zero-sum view of empathy. So there's a weird thing where people go, oh, you're talking about young men having a problem, therefore you must not care about young women. Yeah. I think the greatest partnership there has ever been in the history of the planet is men and women together. And we come together, but we're different. We're not exactly the same. There's different things going on. So toxic masculinity, here's my view. We used to have toxic masculinity every Friday night, okay? A Western came out or a mob movie came out once a week. And they don't make those movies anymore. They don't tell those stories. And they were our stories. In the same way as some guys might be a bit kind of roll the eyes going, oh, she's reading another romance novel. Well, that's her stories. And she's getting something out of that romantic fiction. We get something out of mob movies and cowboy movies. We get something about seeing the rugged individual go up against the bad guys and triumph. And we walk out of the Rocky movie feeling 7 foot tall. And we love that. They don't make those movies anymore. And that's fine. But if you don't make any of that product anymore, then things pop up, like Andrew Tate. He's a pimp. Okay, but, pimp arrives, and suddenly people are drawn to that, because that pimp is speaking for young, disenfranchised men.
But is it the masculinity that's toxic, or is it this is a really repugnant individual who's saying appalling things and treats women in an appalling way, which is not particularly a form of masculinity that any man worth his salt would engage in?
The cure for toxic masculinity is very simple. It's two things. Be a gentleman and be a mensch. That's it. That's it. You're done. It's super easy.
How do you be a mensch?
Do for others. Be of service. Be of service to your friends. Stop asking what you want and ask what you have to offer. Real simple.
One of the things Scott Galloway said when we had him on the show the other day was he thought that one of the creators of the crisis of masculinity was that young men don't go and drink. They don't have. And the death of pubs
This is the best line in his book. The risk to your liver is as nothing compared to the risk of social isolation. People aren't just working from home, they're living from home.
Yeah.
Everything's getting delivered. And there's kind of an issue with that in terms of you want people to go out and live their lives, and people are only talking about one half of things. Like Australia, there's a big controversy this week because Australia took away social media from kids. You can't just do that. Jonathan Haidt wrote about this brilliantly. You can't just take away the ultimate freedom they were enjoying online. You have to give them freedom in the real world. So you have to allow them to go and have a real experience. I think that it's the issue with our society. Sorry, this might all be too boring for
No,
LBC
it's not.
listeners,
It's fascinating.
but the idea, I think George Orwell was not right. I think he's brilliant, but 1984 isn't right. Our freedom will not be taken by an authoritarian from above. Our freedom will be given away by us for cheap dopamine. It's a brave new world. It's Aldous Huxley. And we're giving it away. It's cheap dopamine. Look at young men. What do they want to do? They want to play video games, which is, it couldn't be any more of a proxy career. There's levels and then a big boss at the end. Please. It's very obvious. And then they're looking at online pornography. And I'm not being puritanical. I don't want them to have nothing. I just want them to not have enough of that they feel like they have to go out and talk to the girl. Because the rejection is terrifying.
Yes, but isn't that the bit? The bit is the rejection. And to pick up on Galloway again, the idea that a young man needs to ask a girl out with the fear that they are going to say no. Lots of men haven't done that. There's stats on that.
I think a lot of men, and it's that thing of like, be a gentleman. I think men intrinsically know there's a difference between asking someone out and pestering a woman.
Yeah.
And knowing the difference between the two. And that's why you need a gang of guys. You need a group of guys, and you need to police yourselves, because there's an illusion in our society. This is kind of my problem with society.
Has that not been considered toxic because it's the lads? The lads are back.
The lads are what mediate other lads. Men are better with women around, but a group of boys, the guy might ask a girl out once, and then his friend might go, "Yeah, she's not into you, mate.
Yeah.
Go where you wanted. She's turned you down. It's okay, it's over." But he's the guy that goes and buys you a drink and says, "You move on."
But
you need that. People think they're individuals.
Yeah.
And I think we have a dispersed identity.
Yeah.
I don't think it works to think of yourself like, people talk about the mental health crisis as if it could be solved inside your own head. That's like trying to sniff your way out of a cocaine problem. That ain't going to work. You've got a dispersed identity. You are who you are with other people in your life. And if you don't like who you are, you need to change those people. You can't beat your environment.
You also need the setting in which to be able to do those things and have those conversations. It's not going to happen online. People thought that social media would connect the world, and actually maybe it has atomized it massively. There's a lot of discussion about particularly pubs, the tax rates on businesses that are affecting pubs closing down, pubs shutting. Is that the space where these conversations were meant to happen or meant to take place or should be?
I think the pub was a great kind of proxy for community, for people coming together and having a space where they could feel relaxed. And this is safe in the same way that, churches work in that way.
Yes.
I mean, I think the idea of taxation on businesses it's insane. It's insane that we had a budget that poor. It's insane that we have a midwit in charge. It's crazy. What we need to do is deal in young people.
Yeah.
We have a society where we need a redistribution of wealth. And I don't think it necessarily needs to be from rich to poor. I think it needs to be from old to young. I'm not concerned with inequality. I'm concerned with poverty in absolute terms, because that's fixable. Inequality isn't. Different people have different motivations and abilities. There will always be hierarchies, but you want them to be natural hierarchies. You want them to be justified in some way. And I think the redistribution from old to poor is, all I would do if I was running for office, you know what I'd run on? No taxes in your 20s. Because you would incentivize young people to go and say, I'm actually not going to go to university. I'm going to go and get a trade. I'm going to stack cash till I'm 30, and then I'm going to buy a house. I'm going to marry her. I'm going to have a kid. If the society doesn't reward that, then what's going on? What are we doing?
Incredibly, the budget has meant that a pensioner just on the state pension, whose pension is more than the lowest income tax threshold, which is now going to be frozen, will not pay any income tax on that money at all.
Well,
but the 23-year-old single mother on that amount,
I would go the other way. I would say, right, no taxes in your 20s, okay? And I would say, over the age of 60, no taxes. I think there's a crisis in our society, and it's people feeling isolated. And I think actually going to work, we just think it's money. Yeah, it's money, but also it's social.
Yeah.
You want people to go out, and actually people that could be retired to go, well, do you know what? I'll get a little job for pin money. I'll go and do something nice. I often bump into guys that still drive, like drivers, and they go, I like meeting people.
Yeah.
I like being out in the world.
Yeah.
I like being part of this. I like being of service. Like if you think about the two things, if you had to make a equation for happiness, I got a pretty good equation for you. independence and purpose. You got those two things, you're in great shape. And if you don't have those, you're in trouble. And the idea that, like, I can't get over how a government could be so narrow-minded and doing nothing. You go, why do we not have a sovereign wealth fund? Why?
Gave it away.
Well, we gave it away. We'll take it back. Like, there's so many things that we could own as a government. The wind farms around the UK, the oil, the whatever we've got, the gas. The idea that we've offshored our guilt and said, oh, we'll just bring in fossil fuels from overseas, and somehow that's better for the earth. What?
So I put you down as a Rachel Reeves fan?
Yeah, huge.
Because you know a thing or two about tax.
I know a thing or two about tax, but hey, that was...
That must have been very strange to hear the Prime Minister, this is many years ago, to hear the Prime Minister talk about you and your tax arrangements.
Not the only time the Prime Minister's made a comment about me, but I mean, I've been through the ringer a few times. When that whole thing was going on, when I was being publicly shamed for not paying enough tax, I never once mentioned the millions I've given to charity, because I thought, at this point, lying's not going to help.
Can I then, if the tax changes and the way in which the economy is working at the moment is not incentivising young people, if young people are being further atomised and not having that, would you, if you were 25 again, would you be looking at the UK as a place to build a life, a career, or would you be looking abroad, as many are?
I think if you look at people give Britain a hard time, and no one more than the British. And I look at the footfall. I look at where people want to live in the world, and I take an enormous amount of pride in being British. I mean, I'm an economic migrant to the UK. My parents came over here in the early 70s, and this country has been incredible for me and continues to be incredible to me. It's full of wonderful people. And although we have our problems, if you list me the 10 best places to live, you can Google it now, 10 best places to live in the world, and they will all be ex-British colonies. It'll be Melbourne and Sydney and Toronto and Vancouver. Yeah, of course. I mean, we've done some tremendous things, and we don't take pride in that. And you go, actually, this place could be great again. We went to all the trouble. We went through Brexit, for better, for worse. You can't call it populism when they win and democracy when you win. You have to go, right, okay, this is where we are. This is what we're doing. And there's a great opportunity. But the world is in flux at the moment. That's what's going on.
Just finally, I know I have to let you go, but you told the guys in trigonometry that a revolution is coming.
I think we're in the middle of one.
What did you mean?
Well, I think if you define a revolution, right, what is it? It's the replacement of elites. And I see elites being replaced. When I look at politics, I look at Labour and I look at Tory, and I think, oh, they're probably not going to win again. And that hasn't happened in our lifetime. And then I look at people talk about gentrification, and they say, oh, Islington used to be really working class and isn't working class anymore. I don't care about that. I don't care about that at all. I look at the Labour Party and go, that used to be the party of the working man, and it's been gentrified. We haven't seen that tectonic shift in our politics in our lifetimes. That's a huge thing going on. You look at the BBC and mainstream media. The term mainstream media didn't exist 5 years ago. And now suddenly there's podcasts popping up and people are getting their news elsewhere and they're not reading the papers. So it's a very sort of, it's a very uneasy time to be around.
And that revolution is coming because people have had the promise of change for the better, but it hasn't happened?
No, I think the revolution is coming. I'm a big sort of history buff. I like this guy called Neil Howe, who wrote a book called The Fourth Turning, if you're interested. And he says that, history kind of moves in these cycles. And really what we're seeing is the end of our foundation myth. Sorry, is this too boring for the radio?
No, I don't think this is boring at all.
So the foundation myth of any society.
Let the audience decide.
What's the foundation myth, right, of our society? It's World War II. World War II. And it's fading. And you can see it's fading. And you've got the canary in the coal mine with someone trying to tear down a statue of Winston Churchill 4 years ago. And you go, what? What are you doing? What, he's the bad guy? Relitigating. We have to relitigate David Irving now with some tin pot historian trying to tell me what happened in World War II. Please. We know what. It's crazy. But the myth is fading and institutions are fading. And it doesn't mean we don't need institutions. We desperately need institutions, but we have to rebuild new ones. Civilization is a clearing in the forest. It's Robert Frost, isn't it? And we're going to have to fight for the rights that we hold dear. I'm a sort of a liberal in the pure sense. Like, people think liberal, that means wishy-washy,
Woke.
sitting on the fence. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that at all. It means a robust rejection of authoritarianism from the left and the right. It doesn't matter where it comes from. You want people to have some freedom. It's about freedom versus authoritarianism, not left and right.
What is going from strength to strength? The tour, the film, the career.
I got a movie. Sorry, there's a very serious interview, but I've got a really funny movie out, which is the other thing I do is jokes. So I'm on tour playing these big arenas around the country. It's joyful. I mean, I'm loving it.
You mean you don't get into any of this?
A little bit. Sometimes people ask
Yeah,
something
yeah,
interesting,
good.
but it's like, it's that thing of, but I'm of service, right? I'm in the service industry. I'm a drug dealer. It's what I do for a living. I give dopamine and serotonin to the audience, and they'll never take me alive because they've got the drugs on them, and I kind of tease them out.
Yeah.
And the
They're ingested in.
it's a variable interval reward, right? So it's the same as a fruit machine or any kind of gambling, really, or TikTok or the algorithms. They don't quite know where the joke's coming, and you're delivering this thing, and you're getting people into this heightened state, and then they join in, and you're having a chat with them. And occasionally we'll talk about something serious. And certainly if someone's going through something, I'm very comfortable having conversations about that, and we put them up online, and it's fun. It's a really fun thing. And the movie is joyful. It's just an hour and a half off from the world. You don't need to think about any of this stuff for an hour and a half. Just watch, giggle. If you don't like a joke, I wouldn't pay attention. There'll be another one along in 20 seconds.